If you want to play PlayStation 2 games in 2024 and your old dusty console isn't working anymore, PCSX2 is the de facto PS2 emulator that you should try out. My name is Yadullah, you're watching Candid.Technology, and in this video we are talking about how you can download and install PCSX2, run games on it, and do everything else. Now, downloading and installing PCSX2 is actually quite simple. The first thing that you have to do is you have to head over to the PCSX2.net website, which is where you will download the emulator. Once you're on the site, you will see two options. You will see a latest stable release and a latest nightly release. Nightly releases are the latest ones with every folder or every new feature packed in them, but they also tend to be a little buggy. The upside is that they're easy to set up, and so are the stable releases. So just go ahead to the download tab and you can download either the stable or the nightly release. We are going to go ahead and get the nightly release because at the time PCSX2 is going to release a new stable version and they encourage us to try the latest nightly release instead. So just click on latest nightly and then select whatever version you want. So I want it for Windows and it's going to download 1.7.5966 version number. Once the download is complete, you will get something like this if you download or a 7-zip file if you download the nightly release, and an installer if you download the stable release. We're going to go ahead and extract this file now. So just click extract all. I'm just going to extract them here. Wait for the extraction to complete and double click this folder. Now you'll see a bunch of files here. So we're going to just run the PCSX2 Qt.exe. Windows Protect Defender Smart Screen might disable it, but we're going to run this anyway. Alright, so once PCSX2 opens up, you will see something like this. Now there are a couple of things that we need to set up first. The most important of these is going to be your PS2 BIOS. Now, we're not going to provide links to PS2 BIOSes because you're supposed to use your own original PS2 BIOS, and it's a whole cobweb of copyright violations and piracy there, so I don't want to go there. But long story short, you need to set up your BIOS. So head over to settings, click on BIOS, and now you're going to have to give the BIOS directory. So just click on browse. I am going to go to my BIOS folder and click select. As you can see, all of my BIOSes have been loaded. Next thing is the game list. So just click on the game list section right here. It's going to remove this directory. So you're going to have to add directories for where the ISO file or the image files of your games are saved. Once again, go ahead and click add. And now I'm going to come back, go to games. I currently have burned down 3. So yes, just give it tell it to scan recursively, and as you can see, Burnout 3 Takedown is already in my game list. Now there are a few things that we need to set up first before we get going with our gaming. So then head up to the emulation tab, and what we are going to do in here is just make sure that under speed control our normal speed is set to 100% 60 fps. So we get good and adequate performance in games. You can change it to sort of compensate for game performance if you're not getting it up to the mark, but ideally you should leave it at 100% and 60 fps. Next up is graphics. So leave it at the automatic renderer. That tends to work in most cases, but in the adapter, select your dedicated GPU if you have one. If you don't, PCSX2 is going to use your CPU to render games, and that can be quite a taxing thing to do. A couple of other things here. So you can set your full screen mode here, which is borderless full screen at the moment, and then your aspect ratio. So depending upon how you want to play the game, if you just want to play it at the default 4:3 ratio that PS2 games came out in, you can use that. I like using widescreen just because much bigger resolution and much wider monitor. So we're going to go ahead and set it at that. You can also try and check off other things. So you can have trilinear filtering, you can have texture filtering, internal resolution, you can bump it up to whatever you like. So native is going to be a bit too small, so at least run it at 720p or 1080p. That way you can sort of get it up and running with modern monitors. So I'm just going to select that. Texture replacement we don't need, post processing we don't really need, OSD and recording, unless you're going to record your gameplay, I don't recommend that you fiddle around with these settings. Anyways, before we go, let's head over to the memory card section, and this is where we create memory cards that will save our game progress. So you get 2 by default. We're not going to use them, we're just going to create a new one, and this opens up this flashy new window. Now I'm just going to type in my saves as the memory card name, and I'm going to select 32 MB. It works mostly. 8 MB is the most compatible, supported by everything. 32 MB is a typical size for third-party memory cards and should work with most games. So we just go ahead and click OK here. Memory card created. And now just right click on your memory card and click on use for slot 1, and as you can see, the memory card is loaded in slot 1. You can also create one for slot 2. I'm not going to do that at the moment, and we are pretty much good to go. You can take a look at the network and HDD thing if you wanna have multiplayers. Then there are your folders for storing caches, cheats, covers, snapshots, and whatever. And then your achievements, leave it disabled unless you really want to, because it's an additional hassle setting it up. You're going to have to create an account at retroachievements.org and things like that. So we're just going to leave it right there, and that's it. We are pretty much set up and good to go. Just before that, head over to settings again and head over to controllers. Now we are going to set up our controller. So I have controller port 1, which is connected to a DualShock 2 emulated controller. Now it generally maps it to your keyboard and mouse. So if you head over to automatic mapping, you will see that there are options for keyboard, mouse, and STL0 X input, which is my Xbox controller right here. Now I'm just going to leave it at XTL, but if I change it to keyboard, you will see that all the keybinds have changed accordingly. So just go ahead and change it to keyboard or your controller, however you prefer. You can create new profiles right here, but I am good to go with this one. There are other controller types supported in this, so you can have a guitar or a pop and music controller, which is going to go ahead with the DualShock 1. You can change these bindings, just press the button and then you know how game bindings work. Alright, so controller port 2, if you want to add another controller, just go ahead to port 2, select this, under non-connected, click DualShock 2, head over to automatic mapping and select your other controller or keyboard or however you want to play it. And then of course you have 2 USB ports that allow you to connect wheels, mics, headsets that you want to use, or just a regular controller, and you will be good to go. Alright, we are pretty much set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and close it. And now you're ready to start playing games. All you have to do is just double click the game in the library and it should run. Right, as you can see, this is loading up now. I'm just going to set it to full screen. And that's how easy it is to get PCSX2 running on your Windows machine. Of course, if you want to play more games, you're going to have to get more ISOs, and you can find them on the internet lying around. And so is the case with any BIOS that you want. But let's quickly do a performance check here. So as you can see, this is actually working surprisingly well with the upscaled graphics and everything. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new profile. Burnout is fine. Yes, I like to save it. So as you can see now, we are in the main menu and it seems to be working just fine. Let's go ahead and launch a very quick road rage event. Region random. Just gonna go ahead with this car. Looks good. Okay, so looks like we got ourselves a little tutorial. Okay, now the tutorial is over. We're loading into the map. Let's see how this goes. Once again, I'm playing with an Xbox controller with the mappings that I just showed you. And yeah, the game's running at 60 FPS. and the upscaling is actually quite nice. And I can confirm that the vibrations are also working. And that's a new takedown record. But anyways, that's how easy it is to install PCSX2 on your PC and play games on it. See you in the next one. If you like these videos, consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, press the bell icon and tell us in the comments below what are your thoughts on this video, and I'll be right there talking to you. If you'd like to know more about tech, visit our website Candid.Technology, follow us on social media, follow me on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll see you in the next video.